Welcome to another episode of From a Certain Point Askew, the fastest growing Star Wars podcast now that is not being delivered by the Blurgs. I am one of your hosts, Jason the Angry Ginger, and the guy laughing across from me is neighbor Cole.
I was expecting the intro from last episode we were going to do, but it's not being delivered. But can't escape those Blurgs. They're everywhere. Thank you for having me on the show, Jason. I appreciate your hospitality and all the beers you're allowing me to drink. And this, what is it, bourbon?
You didn't even wait for me to, cheers.
I still got some
water. That's water.
It's watered down. It's watered down bourbon.
Cheers to Star Wars, show.
Cheers to Star Wars, yeah. That's the one. We're not alone here in Monkey Poo Studios. We have a friend of ours coming in on the third mic from the Skype lines. Welcome in, Matt.
Darth Mathias.
Hey, you know what, guys?
What?
If you are interested in anything FACPA related, you should go check out FromACertainPointAskew.com or find us on Twitter at FACPAPod. And you can also email the show at FACPAPod@gmail.com. Thank you.
That's amazing. You've done your job. Now sit there and be quiet.
I will.
We'll have nothing more out of you. Put your helmet back on, Darth.
Oh.
You know, I'm going to toot our own horn for a minute before we get into this. I was listening to the last episode, and first of all, my daughter gets in the car because I'm driving around town all day today. So I keep playing the episode as I'm, and it pops on. We stopped somewhere. We stopped at the store. So we get back in the car, and it automatically starts playing. And usually, when my kids are in the car, I don't play the podcasts. So also my voice comes over the radio, and my 20-year-old daughter just fucking looks over at me. You listen to yourself? I'm like, no. I said, I've already watched the episode today. We're recording tonight. And I said, there's a few bits that we discussed in the last episode. I wanted to make sure I knew what we discussed or how it played out. So when we bring it up tonight, because you don't remember everything when you record, right? You know, you go through and you're like, oh yeah, because you're just kind of in the moment. So that's what I was doing. But
you're drinking bourbon and you really don't remember.
I got judged by my daughter. But if you've not listened to the last episode or any episode of this show, go to the places that Matt told you. Also, you can go to monkeypoostudios.com and the show is there as well.
Yeah, and if you want to take part, we were going to talk a little bit about the giveaways.
What are we giving away?
Giving away a Dark Saber, correct?
We are.
Saber build. It's going to be amazing. But I was just saying you could go to the places that Matt mentioned, and those are part of the rules for the contest. Matt, do you want to go over those real quick?
Yeah, and I'll put up a little post on on the site as well that really points that out and stays toward the top of the page, since that's what's going on right now. So if you want to win the Dark Saber, which our friend Dave has so beautifully crafted.
Who doesn't?
Exactly. If you just do a simple retweet of our episode posts, that'll get you an entry. If you do a retweet kind of with a promotion where you say something, add a little bit of your own flavor to it, you get 2 entries. If you send something to us at factpapod@gmail.com for the Mall's bag, you get 2 entries. And then also if you write a review on iTunes, Stitcher, etc., just make sure you let us know and notify us of that review just so we can see it. Because as Jay mentioned last week, sometimes, if it's another country or something, we might not see it. But that gets you 3 entries. So all the entries will be added up at the end. And our last episode of the season, we'll pick a random number. And that person will be the winner, the lucky winner of the Dark Saber.
Didn't we talk about we were going to throw darts at Jason's back to try to pick a number?
That sounds fair.
That we could do that too. That's better. I don't get to throw from here, but still.
Kind of like an allergy test?
Yeah,
that's right.
I'll throw for you, Matt. I'll be your pitcher.
Okay.
So we've got a Dark Saber giveaway. We're gonna have a question of the week. We've got a little bit of news. We've got season 2, episode 2, chapter 10, the passenger breakdown. We've got something in Mull's bag and a factoid. Boy, that's gonna be a tongue twister.
Factoid.
Yeah, we got a factoid.
Factboys. That's our fans. Factboys.
We're gonna yeah, that's our fans that we're gonna get to at the end of the show. So let's open up the show. We've already given away how you can win the show or how you can win the Saber. That is, we're gonna give it away at, do we say, the end of the Mandalorian season 2. So yes. You've got the rest of the season to get in as many of those times you can. Matt's got his spreadsheet. He's got 7 monitors. He looks like Dozer from the Matrix, just keeping track of everything.
That's right.
Yeah. And that Saber looks clutch,
dude,
bud.
I'm ready to maybe show up at the winner's house and fight him for it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like a publisher's clearinghouse where you show up with balloons and stuff to hand over the Saber.
That's exactly what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to show up dressed up as stormtroopers, and we're going to hand deliver it.
Yeah. We bequeath the Dark Saber to you.
Yeah.
Matt will be dressed like Moff Gideon.
I can
hand it over. All right, here's the question of the week, guys. What if Luke Skywalker is actually Kylo Ren's father? Play that out for a minute.
I mean, are we gonna go down? I saw something of it like this on Pornhub last week.
Did you? Not good fan film.
It was a role play scenario. A little cosplay, some role play, some mother and what would that be? Sister and brother, wouldn't it?
That would be brother sister.
Yep.
Yeah.
But did they know? Did something happen before the realization happened? You would like to lean toward, and I don't know if the timeline matches up as far as when he's born, but you would like to lean toward the fact that it happened before they knew the relationship.
No. Here's what I'm thinking, because you're right. The timeline doesn't match up. So it's one of those, like, it stuck with them. Like, Luke just felt like she was the one that got away, you know? So
Wow.
One night Han's off with Chewie, you know, doing some scoundreling, and Luke just walks in and it's like, hey. And she just happens to be in like that centerfold pose in her white gown, like she is on the Death Star when he saves her. They're role playing, you know, and it just goes a little too far that night. And then, you know, it's a secret, and that's why the marriage between Han, and Leia actually, you know, that's why we don't know it, but that's why they're on the outs. It's because
I like Lon and Hea. That's even better.
yeah.
It could be that
For
would obviously
trademark
cause
purposes.
a huge rift, and it would explain a lot of the angst that is there between Kylo and Luke. You know, there's something deep lying under the surface. I thought maybe, because you're right, the timeline doesn't match up, because I thought, is there a chance that maybe just prior to or just after Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi, he saw her in that outfit and stuff happened? Because it's shortly after that. It's right after that he goes to Dagobah and figures out that Leia's his sister.
Okay, so he the slave Leia, like all men, even her brother, couldn't fight the urge.
Yeah, because I never realized she does kiss him twice, doesn't she? She kisses him once in episode 4 when they're... No, that was 5. And then she says for luck. Does she do it 3 times? Don't they do it when they swing across the drawbridge?
No, it's not Luke's fault.
Well,
she does it across the bridge. She does another time to make Han, basically to drive Han nuts.
Yes.
And then for
the
luck,
Falcon.
And then on the
barge, Jabba's barge.
Yeah.
Does she do it on the barge?
She says for luck, and then they swing over to the
I
troop
thought the for luck
transport.
was the first time.
You might be right. I think I might be mistaken.
It's
I
just
think
the
that was
2.
the Pornhub episode.
Could have been that.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
The spotchka's been flowing tonight, so my memory's not as good.
Did you have a few before you came over?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I should have.
I should have.
They need to market that. They need to make a drink that looks like that.
Right. Well, I mean, they're killing it with Baby Yoda. So, like, they just, like, every time something comes out in the episode, like, oh, yeah, well, we've got a toy for that, too. Or a drink, or a...
Well, yeah, like spotchka could be the perfect blue kamikaze. Like, that was a shot we always drank in college.
There you go.
There is a drink at Olga's Cantina in Galaxy's Edge that has that kind of bluish look to it.
I did read something earlier. There's something that was in this episode that was... when we get into the Mandalorian, but when they're cooking the meat, apparently there's something in Galaxy's Edge that does the same thing.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, that's just like a kebab. That's a traditional kebab like type setup. Only they had the Krayt Dragon horizontal versus vertical.
And then they were using a pod racer engine to
right.
cook
Well,
it.
that was just like a blowtorch.
Searing.
Yeah.
Searing it,
It's like they use those things for everything. Like everyone's like, pod racing doesn't exist anymore. We're going to make bikes out of it. We're going to make cookers out of it. I mean, we got parts galore, and she's got apparently everything that's ever existed on Tatooine in her shop. But
R2's primed up for a smoker. You just got to half him.
Right.
Put some hinges on him.
So I want to hear from the listeners. Send us an email and let us know your story. We'll read like the best 1 or 2 of the emails we get out to the audience of what if Luke was actually Kylo Ren's father. Give us the story to that. So in our news and trailer bits, we've got there was a holiday trailer that came out. Now, I'll be honest. Like, I haven't watched any of the Star Wars Lego stuff. My son's 8, so he's about the old enough where we'll probably be able to get into a few of those because it seems like it's geared a little too young for me, a 43-year-old man, just to now watch Lego Star Wars. But I'll get a kick out of it with my kiddo. But this looks fucking hilarious.
Well, you do have a Star Wars podcast, so I think it is geared toward you. But
fair enough. You know what? I'm trying to act like I'm not that big of a geek.
Well, I have seen some of the Lego Star Wars stuff, and there's a lot of humor in it. I mean, it's pretty funny stuff, and also based on what you saw, and it is true in some of the other Lego stuff you see too. there's almost like that robot chicken feel to it as well.
Yes, that's exactly what I got out of this. Yes.
There's so many things in this trailer that look hilarious. Like Poe in the bad Christmas sweater is just perfect. I mean, I just love that. And Lando was like, please be a cape. Please be a cape when he gets his Christmas present. It's a wrap.
Yeah, he yells it out. I like she's going through time. She lands on Master Luke's lap. And then at the end, when everything from the Star Wars universe is just landing in the desert in Tatooine. And Luke's like, what's going on here? And Darth Vader's like, son, look at those binary suns. And you see Rey's face going, yee. Like, don't tell him already.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
Right.
They've got everybody in this thing, though. They had Baby Yoda's in there. Zori Bliss was in there. Yes. I assume the Mandalorian's probably in there. We just didn't see him, maybe. The shot with both the solos, the young and old, that was pretty cool. So,
yeah.
There's a lot of funny stuff there. I'm looking forward to it. It comes out in, what's today, the 6th? Comes out in 11 days, 17th. Yeah.
November 17th. So yeah, I will sit down. I believe, what's that? Straight to Disney Plus. So
yeah,
that's the holiday special. And we'll talk about that, I guess, in 2 weeks from now. We'll cover that along with a Mandalorian episode.
That's right.
All right, I'm not going to lie to you. We've got a little bit of news here. Mando Season 3. This link I've not clicked on. So you know what? Matt, if you've read it, Cole, if you've read it, go ahead. Hit me with the news. Surprise me. Give me oh my Lord, what's happening with Season 3 of The Mandalorian?
I can break it down. So there's rumors, there's all this talk about them starting the new season 3 in the next few weeks. It's kind of a little bit vague about exactly what that date is going to be, but they've already done pre-prod stuff on it. They're going to try to start moving into filming, it sounds like, and that would be pretty in line with, giving them the full year to release next fall, which is what we talked about before. Will it come out in the fall? Will it have to be delayed depending on when they do it? But some of the big bits that came out of that story were the fact that Sophie Thatcher, who I don't know if you know who she is. She's been in a few things, but she's a pretty young actress. She was in something with Pedro Pascal.
When the Streetlights Go On.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yep. I'm sorry. In the film Prospect. That was what
Prospect. I think that's the one where she's in with.
She was also in the hospital drama Chicago Med as well.
Okay.
Right. So she's supposed to be a new character, what the story was saying is that it was sounding like she was going to be in season 3 and also another spinoff. And then the follow-up to that was there's now rumors that Boba Fett's going to get his own spinoff.
Well, of course he is. I mean, we've discussed this. I think the episode we did before we came into the seasons where we kind of did a bunch of news talk. And it's like, I said, I think this season is really like backdoor pilot for every character that comes in. Like, right. And Disney even announced, like everything is streaming channel, Disney Plus. They're going to put everything they can into it. And right now, 90 million people are watching this damn show. So until they're going to milk it dry, I'm telling you. So enjoy it while it's good.
Well, yeah, you think about it. Cassian's coming up, Kenobi. They've got that new one with the female lead, which we don't know who that's going to be, if it's Ahsoka or Cara Dune or somebody else. And then there's this. That's a lot of stuff to come out over the next, year and a half, 2 years probably.
Right.
So I can't wait. I'm just excited that they're going to have that much new content because, like we've talked about with The Mandalorian, when it's done, this season's done, there's a gap before we get any new content, and we're going to be starved for it. Right.
I think maybe next year we'll be lucky to see 2. I'm hoping we see something before Mandalorian season 3, or we're just going to, after season 3 of The Mandalorian, it's just going to be nonstop Star Wars every 3 months.
I think the hope is it's Cassian, that they get it done quickly enough that they can do it. Otherwise, there's nothing else it could be because Kenobi doesn't start till the spring, so that means it's not coming out till 22.
So how old is this young lass that's going to be in Mando season 3 that's possibly getting her own spin-off show?
It doesn't say. I can find it for us, so real quick, if Matt will allow me to type on my keyboard.
I'll cut that out. It doesn't show it on the Wikipedia page.
What's her name again? Sophie Thatcher.
Sophie Thatcher.
Margaret Thatcher naked.
What is wrong with you?
Austin Powers.
20 years old. Born in 2000.
Okay.
I did the quick math, boys.
So we've got a 20-year-old Jedi getting her own show pretty soon.
Maybe.
She looks like she could be in the Hansons.
The Hansons? Like Mbop?
Yeah, Mbops.
Okay.
The Mboppers. Those guys. Yeah, those ones. Those Hansons.
Those Hansons.
Not Chris Hansen from the...
Not the Hanson brothers from Slapshot. Anyway. But that's exciting news. I thought it was cool. We'll see if it, what it leads to. It's a lot of shit that's getting thrown around and so many rumors. It's hard to know what's actually going to be real.
Right. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get into this episode. Wait, hold on. I'm tying into that because there were a lot of like...
right.
I didn't mean it like that, but I'm processing three things here. But we speculated. There were rumors on things, and we're into this episode, and there's a couple of things where it's like, oh, we were right. And then there's a couple of things like, oh, we were wrong. Yeah. So let's move into...
Baby Yoda goes for a tumble.
the passenger. Or as I like to call it, Baby Yoda versus Wade.
Versus Wade?
Yeah, it's a bad abortion joke because all he does is eat eggs.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Roe v. Wade. I got it. Okay, I pick up what you're going.
And it's directed by, why is his name escaping me? The fellow that did Ant-Man.
Peyton Reed?
Peyton Reed, yes. Yeah. So that is our director. Who wants to open this up?
It just starts off with the Mando flying across the desert. He's got the Krayt Dragon meat because I know you guys. I know everyone's wondering.
What does he have?
He's got the Krayt Dragon meat.
And was that a big deal or was that not a big deal?
No, okay, it wasn't.
You were justified, and not to mention, you said you think they were still going to be on Tatooine. You nailed a lot of stuff there, Jay. So credit to you.
Well, hang on. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't like a pivotal.
You're right. It's not a big deal.
Well, they didn't write around the Krayt Dragon meat.
You were laughing because you're like, they're not even gonna. This isn't even a plot point. This is nothing. And I'm telling you what,
they stuck with the Krayt Dragon meat.
You're
right.
I cannot tell you how excited I almost jumped up because of the show. Right. I'm like, when I saw that chunk of meat on the fucking spigot, I'm like, oh, we're gonna have a talk about this one.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to him on the speeder.
So he's flying balls to the wall on the speeder, and this group of bounty hunters, they're setting up a little tow line for him, a little tripwire.
Right.
They're gonna do the old Ewoks on Endor trick. Move on the fucking on the stormtroopers that are flying around on their speeder bikes.
I just got a text from my buddy Joshua, right? I call him, and all he says in it is, "The meat made it." Not kidding you.
The meat made it.
So our listeners, they're like, "Hey, there's a plot point, well deserved."
So the Mandalorian.
Go ahead, sir.
No, I'm done talking for about 15 minutes.
No,
go ahead, guys.
Go.
I bequeath. The gentleman on the second mic will surrender his time to the rest of the two gentlemen on the podcast.
Okay, first things first. It seems like this is just random. These guys are in the desert trying to just pick somebody off and take their shit. But when they do it, one of the guys says, "Get the child." So clearly this was targeted. I'm wondering who that was from. If it was just a general bounty hunter order out there, or if they were hired by somebody.
Well, yeah, everyone in the galaxy is after him still, right? They're all pucks are still all going, and like the beacons are still flying around.
I think this was exactly that. I think this was to remind us that that's why he's moving along and he's not safe and he's got to keep, because no matter what, if he sits still long enough and he's been on Tatooine an episode in 5 minutes, he's now, they know where he is. And they've got their tow line ready for him. And this was another really quick scene though where we get to see him like whoop. I love how that fucking like harpoon comes flying at him and he just pulls it and the gun comes flying and hits the two guys in the head. And he's like, "I gotcha."
Well, and that little creature, whatever that is, holds the knife to Baby Yoda and he's trying to negotiate, and you just know that guy's gonna die, but you're wondering how. And when he first looks over, I'm thinking he's gonna take Fett's armor and maybe that's somehow how it winds its way back. But yeah, he wants the jetpack. And the second he takes him, like, dude, the guy's got controls. You're screwed. But the way they had him fly off and watched just his helmet like look up and Baby Yoda look up, and then you watch their heads like lower, and then you see that thing just hit the ground. I thought that was hilarious.
I love that it was a straight up Elon Musk Falcon Heavy. Have you watched his jets take off and then they come back and they land? It looked just like that.
Oh, right.
Oh,
so
right,
I'm like, Elon Musk is watching this right now, just like gloating in his fucking leather recliner.
He's almost as excited about that as you are by the meat at this point.
Right.
Did you guys notice that when they zoom in on him, he's still got the Krayt Dragon acid/blood caked on his armor?
I did.
I saw that too. That was pretty cool.
And to add to that, I sent it to the chat room earlier. Someone had posted, because we talk about like how good they are with detail, the back of Boba Fett's jetpack, where the damage was done back in Return of the Jedi. You can see the repair job to the back of it. It's fucking amazing the things they think of.
Because Han just hits him with like his little whatever it is. He accidentally triggers Boba Fett's jetpack and sends him into the Sarlacc thing, right?
Must have been some type of like explosion. Something happened in the back room. I don't know, but I love the repair that's done to it. There was even like a picture shot before and after or whatever, which I'm not quite sure how anyone got the after, but
it was like the R5 thing. There's no detail that they overlook. If they're ever going to include anything from lore from previous years, they make sure that it matches up to what had happened to it previously. It's really cool they do that.
Kind of took me out of it at the beginning were two things. Not took me out of it, but just kind of Mando just uses his jetpack to levitate to the ground when his speeder bike is tripped, which was a cool move. But Baby Yoda's just fucking tumbling. Like, this wasn't a very well thought out plan by the bounty hunters, because like Baby Yoda could have just snapped his neck and that would be the end of the entire thing. He's wanted
dead or alive. I think that's still on the table.
Well, then why wouldn't they just shoot a bazooka at him?
I don't know. But remember last season when they had him in the crosshairs and then Kara fucking shoots him in the back, the bounty hunter? So, I think like dead or alive, it doesn't matter. So I don't think they care what happens to him as long as they get the child.
And number two, there was like 15 different times when Mandalorian could have just drawn and killed that guy that was trying to hold hostage to Baby Yoda. He puts the jetpack down on the ground. The guy's got the knife. He's like, don't you do it. Like, don't do it. And then he like lets Baby Yoda go, like exposes the top of his head to the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Like sheaths his knife, like reaches down, like pull your blaster out and shoot this guy on the top of the head.
I think he was more or less just excited to launch this guy.
Yeah.
But I think it was partly that and partly that why take any risk if you take the shot and the guy somehow gouges Baby Yoda? Why even bother? Just have him completely separated out, So
right.
I like the look that Yoda gives, Baby Yoda gives the Mando too, and he's like, kind of shrugs, like, sorry.
Right. Been here, done this, and this. We're gonna have a little talk about this little filthy mongrel too. Baby Yoda's got a couple of issues.
He does.
He, first of all, he's a bit of a glutton. He's never like satiated at all. Okay, so let's go on. So Mando walks into a cantina, right?
Is this a setup of a joke?
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like he doesn't bother setting anything down outside of the cantina. He's like, how's he get through the doorway of this thing?
Well, not to mention two things there. One, did that crew that jumped him not have any vehicles? He could have just jumped on and stole those. He had to actually walk it back. Did they all walk out there?
Yeah,
that was one thing.
Good point.
And the other is I loved seeing Mos Eisley at night.
Yes,
like it was cool.
Over.
Yeah, it was cool. Like different vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
I half expected when he's walking up to the cantina that like there was gonna be like some like drunk alien puking off to the side. But I just love that vibe. Like you could almost hear like music in the background, and it just had a different vibe to it than you've seen before.
Mos Eisley at night. It comes alive.
That's right.
So Peli Motto is playing Sabacc. Now here's an interesting thing because I couldn't watch this episode today until my son came home because yesterday. I pick him up and he's like, "Hey, Dad, is Mando out yet?" And I was like, "Yeah, it came out last week. Can we watch it?" So we watched the first episode last night, and then I told him it comes out today. He's like, "Well, you got to wait until I get home from school to watch it." So I'm like itching to watch some Star Wars. I just watched Rise of the Skywalker the other day, and so I threw on Rebels and I started watching some episodes. And there's an episode called "The Idiot's Array" with Lando in it, where it starts off where they meet him and he's playing Sabacc, and it's the exact same thing. She's like, "Ha ha, Idiot's Array," and I was like, "I know what that is. I just saw this in Rebels."
Good timing.
Yeah.
So your son saved you on that one, or at least
he sure
enhanced your knowledge right before you saw it. Because otherwise, as you know, I watched the second the episode drops. I'm not waiting for my kids.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, you're up at 3:30 in the morning. All right, time to push play.
It's only 12 or whatever in my time. Remember, I'm behind you.
Oh, that's right. 3:30 our
right
time.
Behind you.
Okay. Hey, creepo.
Sleepy Joe is behind you. Sorry.
So this is one of the things that took me out. I know like some of the strange things are loved in Star Wars. There was two things in this episode that took me out. The large fucking ant that's just playing cards, which I feel like was the director being like, "Hey, I directed Ant-Man. Check this out." Kind of like where Favreau threw in a little bit of Iron Man into his episode. So I was like, okay, I get the inside joke. I'll let it go. And then the other one that took me out was, in a few after they meet Frog Lady and everything, and they're flying and they get flagged down by the X-Wings. Like that scene just went a little too long. Like it was just weird. Like you're just watching these X-Wings talk back and forth, and the camera stays on his head the whole time, and like he's just listening to the conversation between the two X-Wings. He's like, "All right, switch to channel 2.
Carl, go to channel 2.
And then it's nothing, and then all of a sudden you can hear in space apparently the X-Wing opens up.
Yeah, right.
And I'm
right.
I'm like, okay, this is a little too...
at the beginning of this, if you asked me my general thoughts, I was going to say it wasn't my favorite episode. I have some issues with this episode, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that I felt, one, it was fairly short, and two, it's like I once you see that frog lady, you think, oh, we're going to be on the barge, we're going to see Sasha Banks, we're going to do all that stuff.
Right.
Instead, we don't ever get there. And so I just kind of kept waiting for us to get there. So I didn't hate the episode or anything, but it certainly was not in the top of what The Mandalorian has made so far for me.
It's definitely a standalone episode. I'm not quite sure what they were doing other than like just kind of. It did feel like a filler episode, but the back half is really good.
Yeah, it kept pulling me out and then bringing me back in. It kept annoying me and then being like, "This is funny," or then it annoyed me again and like, "This is cool."
Yeah, it was ups and downs. I just think that it reminded me a little bit of how season 1 started out with this just crazy episode that totally drew you in. And then episode 2 was kind of that side mission where he's just basically trying to get his shit back and has to get the egg for the Jawas. But there's things that you discover there. You discover that the baby has force powers. There's different things like that. And also it was so new in the series, you're just like absorbing it all. Like, this is great. It's Jawas again and the Sandcrawler and all that stuff. Whereas in this one, I kind of just kept waiting to like, okay, let's get on to the next thing. That's how I kind of felt throughout the whole episode a little bit.
I will say the second viewing, I was into it a little bit more. Like, it played a little bit faster. I was able to just like, enjoy it a little bit. There was still, I think, a little bit of those two awkward things for me. But other than that, like, I like how they really are. Like, here we are. We're back at Pelimoto's, one-stop shop for spaceship repair and babysitter needs. So, now apparently, we're cooking meals there too. So, like, when was it that it hit you that, like, you're like, did you think, oh, we're going to have to talk about this fucking meat?
The second he walks in, or excuse me, it's when they're leaving and she says, did you get some of that meat?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh boy, is this really going to be a thing? And then when they cut to the meat being seared, but the funny thing was that, what is it? She says Treadwell. Do you remember that character? Treadwell?
Treadwell was...
It was in a deleted scene in A New Hope. So there's a scene, this is nerdy, but there's a scene where Luke is out, right? Luke is out with this Treadwell, droid, and he's out in the desert doing some sort of work. He's got that stupid like hat on.
Yeah.
And he looks up with his binoculars and he sees essentially Leia's ship being attacked by a Star Destroyer, and that he calls the thing Treadwell. So I don't know if that's the type of droid it is or if that's literally the same droid.
Well, I mean, she's got everything that was a Skywalker at one time. So
seems like it.
Yeah, I'm waiting to find out. Like, she's like Aunt Beru's sister, and she took everying in the inheritance after they burned down.
She's the heir apparent to the moisture farm.
Exactly. It's like, I already got my repair shop. I don't need your moisture farm.
So when they're they're cooking the meat with the pod racer engine or whatever, what'd you guys think of his harumping or what? Like, I'm not a taxi service, hands on hips, and then he like shakes his finger in her face. Like, I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, what is he? He's like overacting. Like, he's starting to like use his gestures more because he can't display emotion on his face.
There was a lot of that in this episode, like the way the head tilted, and like you could really read body language.
Hands
in this
on
episode.
hips, and he kind of harumps at her. Like, harumps. I'm not a taxi service, and then he's immediately on to the next point. Like,
I laughed out loud when fucking Baby Yoda looked at her, like he was sizing her up as a meal, and then he sees the backpack with eggs in it. And then, and I'm like, right away, I'm like, this fucker's gonna eat every one of her babies.
I like later on in the episode where he's like, she's there. They end up in. Well, we'll get to it though. So you gotta keep walking us through where we're at.
Oh, you want to keep walking through? Okay, so I mean, basically the deal is he needs to take this passenger to a planet because her husband basically he found a new homestead on a new planet.
Found a home that would support their life form.
Right.
Yeah, and she's like, what are they, the only ones? So the babies are the only ones that are going to survive. So they can't do light speed. They have to do hyperspace. They have to do sublight travel. Yeah, so it's a bit of a longer travel. So they, that's it. So his mission is to get her to the place safely, meet the husband, and the husband's going to tell her or him where the next Mandalorian is.
She's got a jar full of liquid with her spawn floating around inside of it. And Baby Yoda keeps fucking breaking into it and eating it like it's
like it's a fucking cookie jar,
like it's the Zuka.
Yeah.
How did you think? I was gonna say, how did you think Pelimoto's fish language accent was?
Oh, I was waiting for you to talk like that.
I figured you were.
I was
do
thinking
that.
about it. I don't think I could have pulled that one off as well.
Okay.
So that's why I decided.
Okay, fuck it. The fuck she was doing.
By the way, the fish lady. Do you know who that's a voice actor that has done a lot of other stuff that's doing her voice. It's a guy named D. Bradley Baker. Do you know that name?
No.
So he was the guy who did like Rex and Cody and stuff in the Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
So he's that guy. So he's done, if you look at his list of credits, it's unbelievable. It's just this long slosh of all this different voice acting that he's done. And for those of you Phineas and Ferb fans out there, he is also the voice of Parrot the Platypus.
Oh, wow. Now, wasn't the person in the Frog Lady costume the same person that was in the Ugnaught costume?
Was it? I didn't know that.
Voiced? I think that I had read something like that. Yeah. So they're just reusing everybody in a costume.
Well, clearly Filoni's like he doesn't forget a friend. It's like, hey, you did all this stuff for us on Clone Wars and Rebels.
Right.
We'll give you some work.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, real quickly now. So he plots a course. It's going to be a while. So he decides to take a nap. So he goes down. He catches Yoda in the fucking cookie jar again. Tells him, no, you're going to take a nap with me. Now, last episode. What'd I tell you? I told you. I bet you he fucking cuddles with Yoda at night, and he does.
Yoda's got his own hammock. Yoda's got his own hammock above him.
But then later on, when the ship crashes and they're cold, you see Yoda fucking come up and nuzzle up to him, and I'm like, they are cuddlers.
Yeah, Mando. This guy likes napping more than I do, man. This guy. They never show him eat, but they'll show him sleep all the time.
And then he crawls into his little freaking, bedroom, whatever it is, and after he puts him up in the hammock, he doesn't take the helmet off, nothing. Just lays in his armor, and I'm like, right away, does he have like morning breath barnacles on that thing? Like, what's the inside of that helmet look like? We have to wear masks all day long, and our breath are like, woo, sometimes. This guy's just like breathing hot air from his helmet. Sorry, go ahead.
No, think about the fact that this guy just walked across a desert in all that gear. He must stink to high heaven. Does that... He must just, inside of that costume just must be so gross.
He fights crime in a rubber suit. Really seals in the flavor.
That's right. Okay, so he's woken up. X-wings. We've already discussed this. There's a back and forth about is he Imperial or is he not? He's got an old ship. He doesn't have to do that anymore. He's like, well, you do. And then he goes on the run.
Yeah. So like the fucking X-wing pilots, which one of them ends up being Dave Filoni.
Right.
Wolf Trapper.
You got his name?
Wolf Trapper.
Yep, I saw it in the credits.
So they're like, he's like, well, I'm before the Empire, I don't have to have the what did they call it? The tracking beacon. The beacon? Right. Is that what they said? And they're like, well, we're gonna need you to ping us. Just go ahead and ping us either way. Yeah. And he's like trying to. It's like so. The parallel I drew immediately was with Han trying to communicate with the stormtroopers. Well, we're fine. We had a slight reactor leak down here. We're trying to get it locked down. Fine. We're fine. How are you? Like that's the parallel I got right off the bat. And I'm glad you guys went there too. That's fucking funny.
Yeah. And by the way, when you saw the X-wings, I feel like every time you see something that we saw in the trailer, you're like, oh shit, it's happening. We're here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it was exciting
and then
to see
end of the episode was the very first shot of the trailer where you see the beat up Razor Crest.
Yes.
With the fucking, we're like, is the hatch flapping in the wind? Because it's like, is it beat up?
Pick up in the next,
Because it's like swaying as it's going through space. Mm-hmm. Like it's really on its last legs.
Yeah. That ship's fucking bent in the ringer a couple of times here.
And the X-wing pilots are like, where does he think he's going in that hunk of shit? Like, it's like, but it's not like the Millennium Falcon where it looks like crap, but it's got it where it counts, Right. It's the Razor Crest. It's just he uses it because it's not on the Imperial map. It's not on the Resistance map.
It's just an old ship.
An old ship that's like the Firefly. You know what I mean?
It reminds me of that ship, yeah.
But impervious to penetration unless you're Jawas.
Right.
Remember that whole thing? Yeah, he wants you to lock yourself in that ship. Nobody's getting in there.
or if you crash land on an ice planet. That is not Ilium. Let's just go there. So
unless
here's one of our big wrongs.
With a 9/16 wrench, you can get in.
Yeah, and then you get it. Nobody ever thinks of that.
Hydro spanner.
So he crash lands to avoid the two X-wings to stay out of touch of whatever, and then he falls through a hole, crashes again, ships out of fucking commission. So they're in this fucking cave, and I love how he's like, all right, stay here. I'm gonna go assess the situation. I'm gonna see if I can get a little repair going.
Spa day.
Yeah,
Time
exactly.
for spa day.
I got it in the notes. All of a sudden, fucking frog lady disappears, and Yoda's like, yo, she's gone. So he turns on his predator visor, follows the heat signature in the snow, and finds her fucking floating in warm water with her eggs fucking around like it's a Calgon commercial.
He's like, I'm gonna, you know what? Like, she's the only person that's been in this cave in 500 years. But you know what? I'm gonna flip on my heat sensitive thing because I can see their footprints in the snow.
Yeah,
I could track her easy as day. Like Ray Charles could have tracked her. He's like, let me put the heat on top of it just to make sure it's her.
Which way did she go?
You know what I mean? I'm like, let me show off my gadgets a little bit.
And then, like,
yeah, if you got the tools, you got to use them.
We got to go back real quick because one of the cool things they did was because they couldn't talk to each other.
Yeah, she had.
Sorry, lady, I don't understand frog.
Yeah, so
that was a lie.
She activates. What's this? Is it Zero?
Zero,
right?
Yep.
Yes.
So from the first season, the prison escape episode with Bill Burr. The droid that flies the ship. So she uses him to translate so they can talk to each other a little bit. But
Mando doesn't throw anything away. He's a fucking...
That's true.
He's a bit of a hoarder.
A fucking hoarder.
Why is that droid still there? He hates... Well, he's become better with droids, but why would he keep that carcass?
He uses it as a stress relief technique. He goes down there and he just beats the shit out of it once in a while. It's like a wrestling buddy from back in the day.
There you go.
Slamming around your bedroom. It's right next to his bed.
Or maybe he takes it in the bedroom.
Oh boy,
that's why his chest is all ripped open.
Yeah.
Did you half expect them to run into like a Wampa or something when he was going to find her?
Yeah, the snow creature, right? The Yeti. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is he going to creep up on one of this guy? Watching TV or something in this fucking ice cave?
What did I think? I thought something was going to be. He was going to go around the corner because around the corner it was illuminated, right? The heat signature was really coming out, and I had a thought, but I didn't write it down in my notes. I can't remember what I thought. It wasn't the Wampa. It wasn't.
You have failed us.
Yeah, maybe it was a family of blurg.
It always comes back.
It was the ice blurgs.
Him gathering up. Well, actually, let's stop before that. Baby Yoda. A couple things. One, he's moving real well this season. Have you noticed how they have upped the technology on Baby Yoda?
Yeah.
Because he is flying around now. Like before last season, it almost seemed like it was literally like the doll we gave away as part of Podtoberfest. It was like somebody who just had their hand behind him or just moving him around. He's moving around a lot. He's not just doing like little cooing noises. He actually sounds like he's trying to speak now. So he's developed a bit.
A lot more noise. Yeah, you're right.
But real quick, rewind. The X-Wing pilots, after he pings the Razor Crest to whatever the technology they're doing, apparently he needs to have a higher ping rate so he can play Call of Duty Modern Warfare on his Razor Crest. He pings them, and then they figure out from his license plate or whatever the hell they got that he was his ship was involved in the hijacking of the prison escape episode of season 1. Yes. So they're like, was this ship anywhere near prisoner transport X3174? And he's just like, he just takes off. He's like, fuck these guys.
We've got
that chase scene was pretty sweet, and the dead drop he does, and the reaction of Frog Lady, where like she looked like a scared roller coaster rider. She's like, "Rah!"
You hate what's his name?
Calican?
No, is it? Yeah, Calican. Who's the guy that Matt
hates? That's who I hate. Toro Calican.
I hate this frog chick. Oh my god, I want to kill her so bad, and all of her little babies. I want to wipe her line out of existence.
Every time an egg went into Baby Yoda's mouth, you're like, yes.
Another
Neighbor
one.
Cole's genocide.
Whatever species she is, it needs to get out of this.
I like how she grabs her fucking whole outfit with her tongue. She's like, time to get dressed.
And then runs like crazy with that weird.
Yeah, she's got like a hippity hop going on.
Did she notice she went full on Battletoads? Like fucking Battletoads. You guys remember the game?
Right,
Sega Genesis?
I do.
Fucking they stretch out and go. I was like, Jesus. I'm like, is this Battletoads? Like, I got a flashback from Ready Player One when they're in the final scene.
Okay, yeah, they're in the movie. You're right.
And then the Battletoads are like, there's a contingent of Battletoads running through. I was like, okay.
Now here's where we get to the good stuff, like because it's almost like Aliens, right? Like
exactly.
Yoda's
like
walking up to the pods.
I have face huggers in my notes. That's exactly what I have.
And he starts fucking just crunching on one, and the rest
this fucker will eat anything.
Yes, he will.
Not only does he eat the fucking spider alien face hugger, but he's eating the webbing inside of the. It's like he's eating the ticking from mattresses.
But yeah, and the way they come out of the egg, it looks just like Aliens.
Right. I mean, I think there's quite a bit of an homage here to a few of the 80s movies that they were. I mean, definitely there's a love for like all things that they grew up, these directors. So I mean, you can't help but feel that. But this is where you see Yoda but like light it up, man. Like all of a sudden he's like, I'm out of here. Comes running down the hill. Like, gotta go.
You notice the fact that Baby Yoda's like he reaches into the spa to get another one of those little eggs.
He's like,
and fucking Mando is like gives him the fucking no, but he gives him the like a no knee, no. You know, he like gives him the fucking hard no, and Yoda's like, how dare you?
Yeah,
like,
and he doesn't fucking care. Like he's such a toddler.
No, he's gonna do it until he's gonna keep doing it unless you're telling him not to.
Right.
And how long does it take Mando to gather those eggs up?
Oh, he's taking his time.
It's like my kid putting away his Legos or something.
It was
like,
almost
Jesus, man, hurry up!
Like there was a little bit of like interspecies erotica here, and he's like slowly taking his time because he's trying to see if he can get a peek at the toad boobs.
And
you know,
and she's just doing that light splash, like here's more eggs.
Yeah. Come on in, the water's fine.
She's got one egg the whole time. Like here it is. Here's I've got this for you.
If they would have fast forward, like done like a swipe, and it's him in the hot springs with her, but his helmet's still on, body naked, helmet still on,
helmet and cape still on,
and all of a sudden, like it swipes again, like you know it's hours later, and all the eggs are fertilized. And they start
He's got a beer helmet on.
Mando's like,
spatchka.
Baby Yoda's not enough for him. Now he's got to fucking find an orphanage somewhere and take care of.
Oh man.
So the facehuggers emerge from their little shells, and it's fucking.
Get us back to reality, Cole.
It's fucking shit. Can it back to the fucking Razor Crest, and they're blasting.
Dude, this was
facehuggers.
fucking scary shit, though, man.
You know what made it worse? That I don't know how you watch the episode, but I do it with my earbuds in and watch, like on my computer or something usually, and just you could hear those things crawling. It's like when I went to go to bed, I felt like they were crawling all over me still.
Oh,
freaky.
Yeah, and I like how it was almost like as it goes, everything gets confined. It starts in this big room, then they're running through this tunnel, and then they get into the ship, and then it's just tighter and tighter, and then up the shaft, and he's like the doorway, and he just keeps shooting them.
But what saves the day? What
that fucking flamethrower?
Did you guys notice the fucking startup pilot? Like he had a pilot sequence. Like he had to light the pilot, and it comes up like he's lighting his furnace. Like this motherfucker doesn't have instant flamethrower.
It's cold out, man. He had to like warm the Gatlin up.
There it is.
Hit a little flint starter.
Yeah.
Clearly, you were not the only person voicing your concerns about the flamethrower in season 1. Favreau heard you loud and clear, and everybody else is like, okay, fine. We'll show you how effective it is.
Yeah, we're going to get this fucker going. Yeah, I mean, you don't even really get to see it the first time. It cuts away to like the side passage, and you just see the fucking the light up. And then he has to use them to get the Razor Crest doors shut, right? So he ends up flamethrowing. What is Baby Yoda doing the whole time? Like,
probably eating something.
Put some Force swag on these bitches.
Weren't you waiting for him to do Force stuff the whole time?
Yeah.
I kept waiting for the moment he was going to do something. The only thing he ever did was put his hand on the, draw the eggs closer.
I think they're holding back. That's good. Like we've seen it. It's a tease. If it happens again, it's going to probably be for a really good reason. And also, it tends to wipe the little fella out. And if this was anyone's episode, this was Baby Yoda's episode.
Totally.
I love he catches one of the facehuggers in his hand, and then he fucking beer can crushes it. Just
yes,
throws it on the ground. I was waiting for him to slam it, just like
beer can crushes it.
He crushes it like a beer can. He's got his other hand like webbed to the side.
Does, yes.
Well, and all those spiders trying to pour in the cockpit, and then him sealing it and all that. That is again straight Aliens. That is like exactly the movie Aliens.
Yep. And then out of nowhere, laser fire.
Game
they
over,
are
man.
Saved.
Game
this
over.
Did you think it was them?
Too convenient.
I thought it was the bounty hunter covert.
Yeah, I thought it was somebody else. I did not think it was the X-Wing guys.
Yeah. But with a budget like this, they can only afford 3 or 4 actors on screen at a time. So
the X-Wing cats come in and they save the day, kill the. Well, they're getting attacked by Mama Facehugger, right? The big dog.
That big mother. Yeah.
They're about almost out of there.
Did you get the feeling from when Han, Luke, and Leia are in the Millennium Falcon, hiding inside the asteroid, inside the monster they don't know they're inside of?
Same mouth.
And there's same
on the
mouth windshield?
on the Wampas. No. What are they?
No, Wampa was the Hoth thing. I can't remember what those things are called.
Narlox or Minox, something like that.
You're right.
You're pulling that right out your ass. 40%.
Pretty good. Not too bad for a couple of 30-year-old virgins.
Yeah. 40. Well, you're 30. Okay, so a little bit of, knowledge, which we'll cover in a minute. These are called I don't know how do you say these Krachnas. They're the Krachna spiders.
Oh shit.
Because there's spiders that they experience or they come across in Rebels, and I didn't know if those were supposed to be the same ones, because those ones had some sort of special, like, there was a whole thing with them, like you couldn't shoot them with a blaster or something like that.
Okay. All I have to say was I hate spiders, and I hated it. This fucking episode freaked me out. Yeah. Like, no way in hell would I be caught dead on that fucking ice planet ever again. Like, nope, take this one right off the map. We're done visiting.
You think as if you're somebody who has an issue with bugs, you think that if you're on an ice planet, you're not going to run into bugs. You're going to run into something else.
Yeah. Penguins.
And then these fuckers come out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I found it. So am I the only one that got this feeling too? So when the X-Wing pilots come in and they're out there just playing Halo 2, sniping off fucking spiders off of the Razor Crest Hall, they kind of explain themselves like, hey, we ran your tags, we ran your plates, and we noticed that you're the only one that tried to save that captain in the docking bay or whatever, in the control room, right?
Yep.
And then you also locked up 3 wanted criminals, and they like basically decide to exonerate him because they're in trying times, is what their rationale was, right? Did anyone else get the feeling that the guy with the beard, not Filoni, but the other X-Wing pilot, when he popped out of the hull, it was like Moff Gideon giving a speech? Like he took on the same air and the same tone of voice and the same cadence as Moff. Like, if you go back and watch, like I'm like, this motherfucker. Like, where have I seen this before?
Huh?
It was like Moff Gideon when he gave his.
He was a little too proud of himself for being an X-Wing pilot.
Very matter of fact with his verbiage, and like up and down. And then we get a call back to Matt's favorite thing. So I feel like Matt's got you've got the fucking. The meat.
You've got the blurgs.
I got the blurgs and the flamethrower, and Matt's got the negotiation skills.
Okay.
The negotiation thing, right? So
yes, right.
Mandalorian tries to be like, well, I guess I'll just forego the bounty on those 3 criminals that I captured for you, and you guys can help me fix up the Razor Crest. And the X-Wing pilots are like, how about you get a transponder on that piece of shit, or else we're going to blast you out of space next time we're patrolling the Outer Rim. So like,
he's like, cool.
I mean,
see you later, guys.
He could have just sat down. I mean, it was. I can't believe he wasn't just like, fuck off, and flips them off as they fucking fly away.
As they fly away, right? Exactly. Yeah, get out. You better ride away.
Oh, then like again earlier in the episode, I thought Matt would pick up on the negotiation when he comes in and she's like, "You need to cover this guy's bet." He's like, "How much is it?"
Yes,
500. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll do 2."
Okay,
or maybe 3. Yeah, he just throws 500, whatever it is out there.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's so quick to make an agreement. It's almost like he's like, whatever's going to move this thing along faster, I'll just go ahead and agree to it. I don't give a shit.
That was in the last episode I was listening to. I completely forgot which one of you yelled out that Mando had daddy issues.
Well, it's like if there was an Amazon Prime in the fucking universe, Mandalorian would be the #1 subscriber because he's all about convenience. Like,
oh yeah,
500. Just get this fucking episode over with. He throws it out
every time his ship breaks down. He just orders a new one.
By the way, I don't know if you know this or remember this, but in the whatever that was, episode 5, I guess last year when he went and met Toro Calican and went in the cantina, that bug was at the bar. Yes. So that wasn't the first time we technically saw that bug, because I was like, where did I see that thing before?
And they were playing Sabacc in the famous booth, right?
Was it the famous booth? Because
I think it was.
Because I thought the booth he was in was the very first one, and he kind of walks around the bar a little bit.
You know what? You're right. I think you are right.
I think they just all look very similar.
That could be. Okay,
it's like an Applebee's.
Right, yeah.
The Applebee's almost, actually.
Okay, I mean, so we wrap up. He fixes the ship slightly. Basically, what he says is, there's a breach in the hull. There's not much we can do. I can pressurize the cabin. We're just gonna have to make do and fly this fucking hunk of chunk somewhere.
Yeah.
And we leave off with the first shot of the trailer where it's sputtering and turning into shit. And I think we're going to open up with that.
Fun fact as well, factoid you have in here. The spider, the big spider creature, was originally supposed to be on Dagobah.
Yes.
For episode 7. I'm sorry, 6. Return of the Jedi. When he returns, he apparently, when he's completing his training, encounters that spider. Or maybe it was 5. It was either 5 or 6. I can't remember. Right. But yeah, that was specifically...
It was original Ralph McQuarrie art.
Yeah. Yep.
Concept art that they used. And they finally... You're right. I believe you're right that wasn't Rebels. And then now we get to see the live action version.
Hit on number 2 here, what you said.
Yeah, I found this interesting. Like,
I thought that was... Maybe it's because I was raised Catholic, and we always said that in response. And
right.
also with you. But I swear to God that's been.
I don't think it's ever been used. So this is not a factoid as much as I think it's a factoid, but it's also a question. Like when they say, "May the Force be with you," and someone responds, "And also with you." I don't think that's ever actually been a response in anything before.
So when you said this is the first time this is ever said in response, you weren't.
This is my questioning. Yeah, to you guys. Yeah,
I think I've heard it before.
Okay,
but then I could be just confused with, like I said, general mass from.
And let's go into this. Well, go ahead.
Well, remember when Hondo and Leia are talking in Episode 8, and she says it like, "Why don't you say it this time?" or something? She says, "May the Force be with you." Did she respond? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, you might be right. But yeah, it sounds like what is it? Peace be with you, or not peace be with you.
You're right.
Lord be with you. Okay, yeah.
Peace be with you, and also with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. There you go.
And to go back a minute, Mando was not familiar with the Jedi, so how does he know the Force, or how does he respond with it?
I was put off by that. I didn't understand why he would say that.
Right.
Is it something that because if it's something that's just kind of thrown around in general, like it's just an expression that people use, and he just never knew what it meant.
That could be.
It seems like though then. There would have been some gears turning when he saw the baby doing the Force and shit and being like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's probably something not to dwell on too much. But at the time, I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right, yeah. That's what I hit on too. So, yeah, those are your factors. I want to go back real quick here. So, a couple of things that we were wrong about. Like we said, we were wrong about Ilium. We were wrong about like Yoda in Search of the Force, or the Kyber crystals on Ilium, like those shots in the. We thought he was taking him on his like quest. All of that, no. This seems to be, even though it was a very Baby Yoda sort of oriented episode in its own way, they're not dealing with any of that Force stuff. What I think we were right about though was, if this ship's fluttering. And we see in the one shot of Frog Lady with a backpack on that pier, where we see the lady in the cloak, we're gonna see everything in the trailer from the first 3 episodes, like we talked about, except for maybe the breakout, the prison breakout with Horatio.
Yeah, I'd imagine
Sands.
that comes later. The only other thing from the trailer we might not see is, and that's probably tied to the breakout episode, perhaps, is the meeting with Beef and Kara.
Right, which I was wondering, do you think that's the same planet? Because it's very it's got.
You mean if it's not Navarro?
Yeah, do you think that's Navarro? Like,
I think it's
where
Navarro.
The prison
it looked like
breakout is. Yeah, okay. Because
I don't know about the prison breakout. I just meant when they walk up and he greets them.
Yes,
clearly
yes.
that's the
Navarro.
same entrance.
Yes.
But I don't know about the planet where they actually do the breakout. It's possible.
Okay. But yeah, other than that, I think we've seen everything. So we've got quite a few episodes that are covered in darkness.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see what. There's a lot of things that we saw in that trailer that were so intriguing, and it was so much of it was that Mon Calamari or whatever. If that happens, I guess it's not. It's supposed to be some moon called Trask or something. Is what
Correct.
They said.
Yeah.
Which I looked it up, and it was one of those where it's like I looked it up right after the episode, and there was nothing, and then the next day somebody had added it to Wikipedia.
Okay. So it's brand new.
Brand new. Yeah.
Interesting.
But interesting. I thought it was interesting. And then, we're going to get to see who's Sasha. It's Sasha Banks, right?
Correct. Yes.
So we'll get to see her and maybe kind of figure out what she's got going on.
Mm-hmm.
I just, like I said before, I just felt like this episode was entertaining, but it was just kind of like tiding you over for the next episode for the most part. And I think if this was a Netflix dump all episodes at once type situation,
right,
you would have watched that episode and been like, oh, okay, next one. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But since we have to like sit on it for a week,
right? Yeah.
And since we do a podcast about it, you just get into all the guts of it, and it makes it a little bit more difficult for me to enjoy than some of the other episodes.
They're really turning Mando into the hero. They really are. Like they're putting him they're setting him up for it. Where the Worm Mom, when she hijacks Zero to communicate with him, she's like, "Well, isn't that part of the Mandalorian code where you're supposed to get your." I can't remember what it was. Once you give your word, you keep it or something. I can't remember. She quoted something, but it really tugs his heartstrings, and he has to go grab his toolbox and be like, "God damn it!" Yeah. Walk outside and work on the hull of the Razor Crest. So, like a hit or miss episode for me. I loved it. It was fun. It was great.
Right.
I enjoy watching it every single time.
How did the fish lady not know how many eggs had been eaten? He ate a lot of eggs, man.
Well, the last shot you see
snuck one right at the end. Because she's like holding it, like, don't touch my eggs, like she knows what's up.
Fucking
and
eyeing
okay.
it.
She's like, as long as one of them makes it, I guess it's not that big a deal.
Right.
But you're eating my unborn children. They're like
food like my dog too. It's just an inhale. He doesn't chew anything.
It's like they're like little Cadbury cream eggs. He slaps them into his fucking mouth.
All right. Well, that's the wrap up of the episode. What do we think? So we think next week is going to be Mando and a boy on a ship, right? So they're going somewhere. At some point, I think okay, so here's my belief. My belief is we open up, the ship's fluttering. They must land it somewhere. They end up at this port.
Well, we can move on because
we can move on from the meat. Now we've got fish.
We got caviar eggs. Yeah. They're fish eggs. So we got to figure out what happens to the fish egg. That's your challenge for the rest of the season. You got to tie in some sort of cuisine.
Track the food.
Okay, so we're gonna be back next week with another episode. We'll cover that. My belief is. We'll probably at least see a Mandalorian. We're going to be introduced to something shocking by a cliffhanger, and I think that's going to take us into, then we're going to go into some of the Force, the Jedi stuff between the Mandalorians that we know he's going to run into, and maybe Ahsoka at some point. And what I predict, it was Filoni's. No, it was who directed the. I think we're going to see Ahsoka at the end of the episode that leads into Filoni's.
So I think he's episode 5,
right.
So that would be 4. So the one after this next one you're thinking.
That's
I think there's going to be some sort of cliffhanger for sure. I think it's going to be that whole, the buildup is them landing, kind of going, her going to that dock. It looks like in the trailer, if you look back, that her husband is with them when they're walking along the dock.
Yep.
He's right next to her. And so, and then he's on the ferry, and then he's going to go someplace. So it's a matter of, does he just get to this place and kind of get his bearings and figure something out, and then you spot some figure, there's some sort of interaction, and then it cuts? Or are we actually going to see quite a bit of action once he gets across the ferry to wherever he's going?
Yeah, where is this fucker going?
I don't know.
That is the question.
Quick mall bag.
Yes, let's hear from the mall bag.
So it's a reminder to you guys, you can send us mail at factpapod, facpapod@gmail.com, or you can just send us a DM on Twitter at factpapod. And we will address those on the show. And of course, as we mentioned about the Dark Saber giveaway, we give you entries when you do that. So somebody's taking advantage of that.
Oh, good.
Quick email from Grant, not the Grant you know.
Oh, okay.
Different Grant, who said, I'm a huge fan of what you guys do, and read the instructions for the giveaway. That was it. He just wanted to get some entries.
Oh, what that? You know what? Kudos. Give him an extra point for being just a shitbag. I love it.
Way to do the bare minimum,
Grant. Yes.
I thought that was funny.
Not even a hello, nothing. Just here's my point. Where is it?
That's right. Give me my points.
All right. So, we have a listener named Grant. I will say, out of all of the Dark Saber retweets were astronomical compared to anything else that we've done so far. So
people
those
want
pictures,
that stuff. Yeah.
Well,
man, it's slick looking. I can see why people want to get in on it. So definitely do that. Share the show as much as you can, and you get more entries for it. And that's how our show grows.
We should get a video of that thing in action. Don't you think?
All right, yeah, I do.
Can we make Dave do like the video from Arrested Development? In
his garage?
George Michael in his garage.
Yes, and he has to have black pants on, and he's got to be shirtless like Kylo Ren.
Ball's in your court, Dave.
There we go.
We have spoken.
Speaking of before we speak, we have 3 T-shirts to give away. So I want to give away a T-shirt next week. Okay, so here's what we'll do. We will pick a code word or whatever. Anyone that sends that in via an email, right? What's the email, Matt?
facpapod@gmail.com.
Okay. Out of all of those people, however many we get, we'll do like a Google randomizer. It'll pick a number.
Yep.
And we'll give that away. We'll give a shirt away to whoever that person is.
That's right. And in our show notes, for those wondering, there is a link to our merch. So you can go order a shirt as well, but you'll see what we're giving away here is one of our black shirts with the yellow logo.
God, I really wish I would have gotten one of those now. I'm going to have to go do it. Because I got the gray with the black.
What's the code word?
Blurg.
Blurg. Okay, they email us with the correct spelling of blurg.
Oh, there you go.
And if they email us, it also puts them in the running for the Dark Saber.
Ooh, double points.
Yeah.
2 spotchka shots and 1 glass.
Here we go. I'm going to have a spotchka shot right now. Okay, and with that, listener, thank you for listening. And until next time.
Listeners. There's more than one.
That's right.
I hope so.
And until next time, never tell us the odds.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
We have spoken.